Hello everybody and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday morning, February the 15th, and time once again for the mailbag. Hope you guys have had a good week and a good weekend. Right here, we are in the midst of the ice and snow, right? Even down here in Texas. In fact, Texas is so unaccustomed to this kind of winter weather that the entire state right now has declared itself, in a state of emergency. Which is interesting. I hope it means that idiots will stay off the roads and stay home the way they haven't been doing just, because of COVID. Gosh, when was the last time? The last time I can remember we had a serious ice storm down here was January of 2007. I remember it very well. The interstates were shut down. And I think that in a single weekend, when that was happening in Houston, they had something like 22,000 automobile accidents, right? Nobody here knows what to do when this kind of weather is happening. So we're here snug and cozy inside the SFF180 offices and bringing you a mailbag where I have exactly, I think, 7 physical packages and 7 e-arcs. So it's a pretty good week for the books. And so without any further ado, one more thing. Hugo nominations. When I talked about them a couple of weeks ago on the mailbag, I forgot to leave the link to the Discon site for you guys to get in your nominations for Best Book and Best Fancast and other things. So I will leave that this time, I promise. Okay, done yammering. Let's check out the books, shall we? Okay, sorry, I miscounted 6 physical packages, but still, not bad, right? And we're going to start with this one from the fine folks at Random Penguin. And this is the finished copy in hardcover of the new book by Alexandra Oliva, or Oliva, perhaps. It's called Forget Me Not. And I'd say about three, maybe 4 years ago, I reviewed her previous novel to this one, a book called The Last One, as part of my, Halloween reviews. And I gotta admit, I didn't really like it, but, I'm always willing to give an author another try, right? And so this one, well, let's see what this has to say for itself. Do we have a sell sheet? I don't know. I'm assuming this is out now or now-ish. It says, she was born for all the wrong reasons, but her search for the truth reveals answers she wishes she could forget in this suspenseful and deeply moving near-future thriller. From the author of The Last One. What if your past wasn't what you thought? As a child, Linda Russell was left to raise herself in a 20-acre walled-off property in rural Washington. The woods were her home, and for 12 years, she lived oblivious to a stark and terrible truth, the reason behind her birth and her mother's subsequent neglect. Then one day, Linda witnesses something she isn't meant to see. Terrified and alone, she climbs the wall and abandons her home. But her escape becomes a different kind of trap when she is thrust into the modern world, a world for which she is not only entirely unprepared, but which is unprepared to accept her. Years later, Linda is living in a bustling Seattle neighborhood, but she has never felt more alone. With social media more ubiquitous than ever, she is hounded by the society she is now forced to inhabit. When Linda meets a fascinating new neighbor, she is introduced not only to the possibility of friendship, but also to the escapism of virtual reality. She begins to allow herself to hope for more by being sucked into a world that feels safe but isn't real. Then an unexplained fire at her infamous childhood home jolts Linda back to reality. She must return to the property for the first time since she was a girl, sparking a series of events that will not only endanger her life, but challenge her understanding of family, memory, and the world itself. All right. Intriguing. But it's called Forget Me Not by Alexandra Oliva, and I believe it is out now from Ballantine Books. And we have another Random Penguin package. This one says it's for a book that comes out on the 23rd. And this is from the fine folks at Angry Robot. This is the finished copy of Glow. It's by Andrew Jordan. This is a book that was on my anticipated science fiction list for this year. And let's see what it has to say for itself. It says, in 2070, nanotech longevity drugs have become the de facto currency of a post-apocalyptic Earth. Glow is one such drug, addictive and all-controlling, with the devastating power to copy, edit, and paste memories from host to host. On the streets of Coriolis City, Rex battles his addiction to glow and the beguiling, terrifying voices it puts in his head, all while fleeing drug liches, corrupt militia, and an unstoppable assassin sent down from space. Wow. Above, an orbital empire wages war against Earth's forces, seeking ultimate control of the planet. In such a massive conflict, Rex's uncanny ability to resist glow might just make him the key to changing the world. And it's described as a deftly written debut jewel of cyberpunk. This one has my attention, I have to say. Glow by Tim Jordan from Angry Robot. And this one is from Simon & Schuster, so might be a Saga title? Ooh, okay, this is the finished copy in hardcover of Machine Hood. It's the debut novel by S.B. Divya, who wrote the Tor.com novella Runtime. And this is really nice looking in its finished hardcover edition. I remember getting the arc of this and then like seeing the art online and thinking, well, the art doesn't kind of looks, weirdly retro, doesn't look like much. But I gotta say that when you see the actual hardcover book, it looks really, really sweet, the way they did the dust jacket. But anyway, let's see what this one has to say for itself. Oh, a sell sheet. Thank you so much, Saga. Wow, what a wonderful trend that I think all publishers should continue. It says, Bad Blood meets Blade Runner in this techno-thriller that explores some of today's most debated issues: human rights, worker rights, big pharma, and domestic terrorism. Infused with questions on the nature of artificial intelligence, Machine Hood also delves into complex issues that are sure to arise in our own world. How do we define sentience, and what exactly does it mean to be human? It's 2095, and violence is but a memory from times past. Humanity is entirely dependent on pills that protect against designer diseases. I say another story about drugs. Apparently our future is just going to be one drug haze, I guess. They enhance focus, physical strength, and the healing process. But a new and mysterious terrorist group, known as the Machine Hood, begins murdering rich pill funders, and they issue a warning to stop all pill production in 1 week. Uh-oh. After witnessing the murder of her client at the hands of the Machine Hood, Welga Ramirez, an ex-Special Forces turned executive bodyguard, is determined to take down the terror organization. Her investigation reveals that Machine Hood operatives appear to be part human, part machine, and something the world has never seen. Global panic ensues as pill production slows. Hundreds of thousands of people fall ill. Even more begin destroying their personal bots in fear of an AI takeover. Meanwhile, the United States government believes the Machine Hood is a cover for an old enemy, one that Welga is uniquely qualified to fight. Convinced to rejoin Special Intelligence for a government that betrayed her, Welga has to answer one question: who are the Machine Hood and what do they really want? And this will be out, it says, on March the 2nd from Saga Press. Very cool. Oh, and it has a really nice blurb from Ray Kurzweil. If you may be familiar with his name, he was the guy who sort of popularized the idea of the singularity. Back around the turn of the century, and then like every science fiction writer was writing singularity stories. So Ray Kurzweil likes this one. And so does Ken Liu and other reviewers. All right, then. I'm looking forward to it. Machine Hood on March the 2nd. And this next one is in from Tor. It is the finished copy of Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. And let's see what this one is all about. It says, one match can light up an empire. A chilling account of a dark past wrapped in the warm blanket of a promising future, says Anne Leckie. All right. Prince Kiam, a famously disappointing minor royal and the emperor's least favorite grandchild, has been called upon to be useful for once. He's been commanded to fulfill an obligation of marriage to the representative of the empire's newest and most rebellious vassal planet. His future husband, Count Janon, is a widower and murder suspect. Neither of them wants to be wed, but with a conspiracy unfolding around them and the fate of the empire at stake, they will have to navigate the thorns and barbs of court intrigue, the machinations of war, and the long shadows of Janon's past, and they'll have to do it together. So begins a legendary love story amid the stars. This seems like the sort of thing that would ordinarily be marketed as YA, but this is an adult release. From Tor Books, it is Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell. Okay, and this one is also from Tor. The Tor Essentials line continues, and I'm always happy to see it. And this one is a story collection. This is The Best of R.A. Lafferty. Well, I'm glad that they're reviving some of this stuff by the World Fantasy Lifetime Achievement Award winner, R.A. Lafferty, who was born in 1914, died in 2002. And this one has an introduction by Neil Gaiman. And yeah, golly, I think it's been ages since I've read. It's acclaimed as one of the most original voices in modern literature. A winner of the World Fantasy Award for Lifetime Achievement, R.A. Lafferty, which stands for Raphael Aloysius Lafferty. There was a time when people had names like that, these aristocratic names. He was an American original, a teller of acute, indescribably loopy tall tales whose work has been compared to that of Avram Davidson, Flannery O'Connor, Flann O'Brien, and Gene Wolfe. The Best of R.A. Lafferty presents 22 of his best flights of offbeat imagination, ranging from classics like 900 Grandmothers, which was the basis for a later novel, and The Primary Education of the Cameroy, to his Hugo Award-winning Urima's Dam. And since 2020, Tor Essentials has brought readers a plethora of science fiction and fantasy titles of proven merit and lasting value, and it is only fitting that The Best of R.A. Lafferty be part of this list. His linguistic mastery weaves a collection of tales that is wholly original, unconventional, joyful, and eccentric. All right. And he has written books like Past Master, that's the one that I've read, Hugo nominee, Fourth Mansions, and the Native American historical Oklahanali, which I'm not familiar with. And interesting. Okay. All right, then. So The Best of R.A. Lafferty is out now from Tor Essentials. Came out on February the 2nd. And finally, we have another book from Saga Press, and I am insanely happy to get this one. This is the new book by Stephen Graham Jones already. Well, actually, it comes out on August 31st. As you may know, The Only Good Indians was probably not only my favorite horror novel of last year, but I think probably my favorite novel of 2020. And so this one comes out, as I said, end of August. My Heart is a Chainsaw might be the best demonstration of, Stephen Graham Jones's writing superpowers yet. And it says, it's the lottery meets Friday the 13th, set in a small lake town filled with quaint traditions and folklore. It is a heartbreaking portrait of a broken young woman obsessed with horror films, who watches helpless as the home she loves and despises succumbs to gentrification. Jade Daniels is an angry, half-Indian outcast with an abusive father, an absent mother, and an entire town that wants nothing to do with her. She lives in her own world, a world in which protection comes from an unusual source, horror movies, especially the ones where a masked killer seeks revenge on a world that wronged them. And Jade narrates the quirky history of Prufrock as if it is one of those movies. But when blood actually starts to spill into the waters of Indian Lake, she pulls into her dizzying encyclopedic mind of blood and masked murderers, pulls us into her mind of blood and masked murderers, and prophesies exactly how the plot will unfold. Yet even as Jane drags us into her dark fever dream, a surprising and intimate portrait emerges, a portrait of the scared and traumatized little girl beneath the Jason Voorhees mask. Angry, yes, but also a girl who easily cries, fiercely loves, and desperately wants a home. A girl whose feelings are too big for her body. My Heart is a Chainsaw is her story, her homage to horror and revenge and triumph. Holy mackerel. All right, well, Stephen Graham Jones, if he's known for anything, he goes hard, I tell you. And what's cool about this is that in addition to the sell sheet that I just read from, they've got like this... as part of the promo materials, it's this mock small town newspaper page, the Prufrock Standard, I guess from the town that she lives in, just with various on two sides. This is sort of Prufrock welcomes Terra Nova and its founders. Well, I'm very much hyped for this, but as I said, it comes out August the 31st from Saga Press. My Heart is a Chainsaw. Alrighty then, moving on to the e-arcs. And like I said, I have 7 of these, and I am starting these in, I'm going to go in order of release date. And that seems to be, the most sensible way to get these done. So we're starting out actually with a couple of YAs. And this first one comes out, I believe, next Tuesday, the 23rd of February. And it's called A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. That cover art, I gotta admit, is pretty epic. But it says it's The Cruel Prince meets City of Bones. See, publicists always do this. It's like, one bestseller meets the other bestseller in this new book that we hope will be a bestseller. That's just how they do it, you know. But anyway, it's a thrilling urban fantasy set in the magical underworld of Toronto. See, if you're from Toronto, I bet you had no idea there was this magical underworld. It says it follows a queer cast of characters racing to stop a serial killer whose crimes could expose the hidden world of fairies to humans. For centuries, the 8 courts of folk have lived among us, concealed by magic and bound by law to do no harm to humans. This arrangement has long kept peace in the courts until a series of gruesome and ritualistic murders rocks the city of Toronto and threatens to expose fairies to the human world. 4 queer teens, each who hold a key piece of the truth behind these murders, must form a tenuous alliance in their effort to track down the mysterious killer behind these crimes. If they fail, they risk the destruction of the fairy and human worlds alike. Well, there you have it. And that will be out next Tuesday, February the 23rd. And we follow that one up by a book coming out on March the 9th. This is called Sweet and Bitter Magic. The author is Adrienne Tooley. And it says, in this charming debut fantasy, perfect for fans of, once again, Sorcery of Thorns and Girls of Paper and Fire, a witch cursed to never love meets a girl hiding her own dangerous magic, and the two strike a dangerous bargain to save their queendom. Tamsin is the most powerful witch of her generation, but after committing the worst magical sin, she's exiled by the ruling coven and cursed with the inability to love. The only way she can get those feelings back, even for just a little while, is to steal love from others. Wren is a source, a rare kind of person who is made of magic, despite being unable to use it herself. Sources are required to train with the coven as soon as they discover their abilities, but Wren, the only caretaker to her ailing father, has spent her life hiding her secret. When a magical plague ravages the queendom, Wren's father falls victim. To save him, Wren proposes a bargain. If Tamsin will help her catch the Dark Witch responsible for creating the plague, then Wren will give Tamsin her love for her father. Of course, love bargains are a tricky thing, and these two have a long, perilous journey ahead of them. That is, if they don't kill each other first. Okay, then. And that will be out on the 9th, Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrienne Tooley. Now, moving ahead, we have one that I'm very, very happy to have. This one comes in from Rebellion Publishing, and it is A Broken Darkness by Premi Mohammed. And now, this was originally slated to come out from Rebellion on March the 2nd. It has been pushed forward to March the 30th. Apparently, they're just shipping and production issues there. And I don't really want to say too much about it, other than it is the sequel to Beneath the Rising, which is a book that I have imminently on my review pile, and I'm going to be binging the two of them back to back. And it is cosmic horror, all right, which we always need more of, right? But A Broken Darkness is in on the 30th now, from Rebellion Publishing. And next up, now we're moving ahead into May. And we have a book called The House of Always by Jen Lyons. This comes out on May the 11th. And this is the 4th novel in this series that she is doing, this epic fantasy series from Tor Books that started with The Ruin of Kings and has since continued with very rapid-fire release schedule, these epic fantasies. And it says it's for fans of Brandon Sanderson and Brandon Fern. Oh boy, doing these mailbags is always an adventure to see if Thomas can talk today. But it says, for fans of Sanderson and Rothfuss, The House of Always is the 4th epic fantasy in her Chorus of Dragons series. This may account for why I have not really jumped into these just yet, mainly because if I see something and its immediate comparison is to Sanderson and Rothfuss, I'm going to think, all right, this is a completely conventional epic fantasy. I mean, and I like one of those authors and I don't necessarily like the other. And so, I just kind of think to myself, I'd rather maybe just focus on the newer, more innovative kind of stuff first. And then but I should maybe just go ahead and dive into these because this is book 4 and I still have all the way back to book 1 to start from. So at least I'll see what they're like, right? That's the whole point. But anyway, this one says, what if you were imprisoned for all eternity? In the aftermath of the ritual of night, everything has changed. All right, this is going to be a whole bunch of spoilery synopsis here for the first 3 books. But again, it's all about characters facing choices and can they save the world or not, or etc., etc., that kind of thing. Big stakes, epic fantasy. But The House of Always available from Tor Books by Jen Lyons on May the 11th. Now, moving ahead, we have another book from Rebellion. Back to Rebellion, and this one comes out on May the 25th, and it's a book called Anna. And the author is Sammy H.K. Smith. I believe it's a debut. And it says it's a chilling feminist novel set in a near-future dystopia. Anna explores the conflicts between selfhood and expectations, safety and control, and the sacrifices we make for the sake of protection. Beaten, branded, defiant, Anna is a possession. She is owned by the man named Will, shielded from the world of struggles and possessions by his care. He loves her, protects her, and then breaks her. Anna is obedient, dutiful, and compliant. Anna does not know her place in the world. When she falls pregnant, Anna leaves her name behind and finds the strength to run. But the past and Will catch up with her in an idyllic town with a dark secret, and this time it's not just Anna who is at risk. Ooh, okay. I'm not going to lie, that one sounds like heavy going and probably extremely unpleasant. I don't mind when books are extremely unpleasant, right? I'm like one of the few booktubers who absolutely adored Black Leopard, Red Wolf, which was just full to the brim of unpleasantness, right? And I think that books should be not at all afraid to go there and then keep going, right? When it comes to dealing with touchy topics. That being said, it's always, if I'm going to read a book that sounds like it's just all about a woman being brutalized, then, I have to really kind of make sure I'm in the place for that. And it's really not a place I like to be. So, maybe not for that one on me. But, let me know in the comments, right? Next up, we have something that's probably in a bit of a lighter vein for the same day, May the 25th. And that's Hard Reboot. New book by Django Wexler, who's being very prolific lately. This one comes out from Tor.com Publishing. I haven't checked to see whether it's novella length or full-length novel. But it's a big, giant fighting robot story. It says, Kaz is a junior academic on a research mission to Old Earth. When a con artist tricks her into wagering a huge sum of money she doesn't have on the outcome of a giant robot arena battle, she becomes drawn into the seedy underworld of Old Earth politics and state-sponsored battle droid prize fights. All right, then. So you want to see the giant robots bashing each other? Hard Reboot is where to go. But that's by Django Wexler from Tor.com Publishing on May the 25th. And finally, we wrap up the last of the E-Arcs this week with a book out on June the 8th, and it's a book that a great many people are looking forward to, including myself. It was an anticipated 2021 release for me. And that is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. It says it begins the powerful Burning Kingdoms trilogy, in which two women, a long-imprisoned princess and a maidservant in possession of forbidden magic, come together to rewrite the fate of an empire. Exiled by her despotic brother when he claimed their father's kingdom, Malini spends her days trapped in the Hirana, an ancient cliffside temple that was once the source of the magical Deathless Waters, but is now little more than a decaying ruin. A servant in the regent's household, Priya, makes the treacherous climb to the top of the Hirana every night to clean Malini's chambers. She's happy to play the role of a drudge, so long as it keeps anyone from discovering her ties to the temple and the dark secret of her past. One is a vengeful princess seeking to steal a throne. The other is a powerful priestess seeking to save her family. Their destinies will become irrevocably tangled, and together they will set an empire ablaze. And that is The Jasmine Throne, available from Orbit on June the 8th. And there you have it. That's all I've got for the mailbag on this snowy, icy morning. You guys know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, and which you would like to see me prioritize for review. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, please hit that like button, share the video with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe. If you haven't done so, that is how the channel grows. We are inching towards 9,000, and it would be really awesome if we could maybe start sprinting towards 9,000. That would be really nice, wouldn't it? But thank you all for the support. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Winx Army get little perks like getting early access on some of my videos. It all depends on when I finish editing these things. But I want to thank all of those wonderful people for their additional support. I use the Patreon money to pay my channel artist, Matt Olson, for all of the lovely thumbnails that he does for me. So I want to thank all you folks for that added support. It's greatly appreciated, especially in these tough times. I want to thank all the rest of you guys for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube. And until I see all of you next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay warm, and happy reading.